Regina Daniels. You don't know Uche. They not for here, for here.
Hello, welcome back. We're still in the Regina Daniels saga and fresh updates just like so. Ned Nwoko has dropped an explosive update. So here is what he has to say. These videos show Sammy, Regina Daniels' brother, repeatedly coming to my house and harassing my children and domestic staff, especially whenever I was not around. His visits were often aggressive and disruptive. This is someone I sponsored through his last 2 years of the University of Igboma. I bought his musical instruments, rented and furnished a flat for him in Abuja in addition to the house I bought for Regina in Asaba before our marriage for the use of all of them. I also routinely provide allowances to all members of the family, including her mother, Rita Daniels. Indeed, in the last 2 years, I have a record of transferring 225 million to her alone. That's Regina's mother now. When Regina started her rehabilitation, there was a clear instruction by the doctors to strictly restrict people, especially her enablers, from having access to her. The therapy was arranged after I noticed troubling changes in her behavior linked to her dependence on certain illegal substances, including going for 48 hours without sleep and eating every 2 hours. Unfortunately, Sammy, Destiny, some of their siblings, together with a few of her friends, notably Sonia Uche Montana, among others, constantly defied these restrictions. They would come into the house uninvited, sometimes forcing their way in, and would bring her the same drugs she was being treated for, instead of helping her recover. They encouraged her addiction and completely frustrated the efforts of the doctors and therapists working with her. It is important to note that Lawrence, Sammy, his girlfriend NK, Destiny, Sonia, and others also took the same drugs as Regina. In fact, Lawrence and Sammy were the ones who first introduced and supplied these drugs to her. They were deeply involved in the habit themselves. Rather than helping her get better, they kept throwing her back into the same destructive lifestyle. I do not drink alcohol or smoke. In fact, I am a vegetarian, so I found this character and behavior in, irre- reprehensible and totally unacceptable. Pardon me, guys. Just 4 weeks ago, I woke up around 4 a.m. and realized that Regina was in my room and on the phone. She was clearly high. She knows that I don't want her in my room in that, excuse me, condition. I asked her to go to her room and she told me that Sammy's girlfriend was in her room. I was alarmed and angry because that girl should never have been in my house, let alone around Regina, since she is one of her enablers who constantly bring her the substance she is addicted to. I told Regina that the girl had to leave, and one of my drivers dropped her off. 30 minutes later, Sammy came to my house, shouting and demanding that I come downstairs to face him. He said I had no right to ask his girlfriend to leave my house. He was ranting and threatening, waking up everyone, including the children. I eventually went downstairs and had is to instruct security to physically push him out of my compound. The level of audacity was shocking. Without the influence of drugs, could he have been so bold and disrespectful? They did not stop there. On several occasions, they verbally assaulted and intimidated police officers stationed at the house for security. The officers were simply following instructions to restrict access for the sake of Regina's recovery, but Sammy and his group would insult and threaten them. Whenever Regina wanted to go out and I was not around, she would become extremely hostile towards the police and domestic staff. She would shout, threaten, and use abusive words, insisting that she must leave the house no matter what. There were at least 2 serious incidents where she left the house in the evening and did not return until the next day. The first incident, she returned in the morning around 9 a.m. When I asked where she had been all night, she casually told me she was at a nightclub. When I questioned why she would stay out all night, ignoring my calls and refusing to answer messages, her response was, "You are not my father, so don't ask me where I was." I found out that she was with Cassie, and that Cassie was staying in Regina's house in a life camp. What was life camp? Cassie is the chemist. Cassie is the chemist and the supplier of the group. I had to go to life camp at 6 p.m. to ask her to leave. With her around Regina, the therapy becomes a joke. On another occasion, on the kid's birthday, to be precise, I returned home with the kids because Regina asked said she would stay with her Nollywood friends for dinner. She didn't return until 5 p.m. the next day. I took so much nonsense just for the sake of the kids. I also knew that drugs had a lot to do with it. As to her reasons for continuing with dogs, she will always say, just like her mother, that is a celebrity lifestyle. They will always mention two well-known pop stars. At this point, I'm thinking, is it possible that Regina married this man so that she will have freedom to do whatever she wants to do? Because nothing is impossible. Oh, I'm having second thoughts. I don't know who exactly is the victim in this case. Only God knows. Let's continue. Imagine the pain of a husband trying to help his wife recover, only to have the process sabotaged by her siblings and friends, the very people who should have been supporting her healing. This pattern of behavior made it almost impossible for her to recover. Each time progress was made, they would undo it by smuggling in the same she was fighting to give up. The entire household lived in tension and fear because of their constant harassment, interference, and disregard for boundaries. It will be interesting to know her reason for the violent behavior in the house the day that Sammy and other siblings carried and then my staff, security, taking Regina away after doing a video which they posted the next day. Why did they do that video? They did they Why did they post it? They simply planned and orchestrated a script all in my absence, regardless of the fact that my kids were there. They took away many things from the house, including one of my phones, money, and many other items. Everything that happened that day was in my house. In my absence, nobody was beaten, and nobody could have contemplated that. It is blatantly false to say that I sent thugs to beat Regina in another house. The video that went viral was filmed entirely in front of my house by Regina's sister and her friend. It was a pure Nollywood scenario in front of my property in my absence. Sammy should have a life of his own outside Regina and pursue his career. When his brother Lawrence went to London a couple of years ago to do his masters, I also offered the same opportunity to Sammy, but he declined and insisted he wanted to stay in Nigeria and pursue his career in music. He has been arrested a few times by Nigerian police and EFCC. He needs a total rehab, otherwise his violent behavior will continue. Has been a lot. Guys, what are your thoughts? Because this one is a totally different angle from what we were seeing and what we were assuming happened in the house, even though we did have not come out to make our own official statement. Okay, this is her eldest brother, their first son, and that's the Lawrence. He's currently in London, and he's the one that shared the site for petition against EPA. He's been pretty much calm since the whole saga started, except for when, after his brother got arrested, that's when he came online and started saying a lot. But initially, he was very calm.
I know they that one. Oh, boy, Etaka. I know they that. I go to wait you want to go come up for here.
Who is the person driving the car?
I see they explain, give the policeman, say no, she's not going anywhere.
No,
Who is he?
I said that she's going. Like this.
You're explaining to him. Who calls him?
You are trying, don't worry, sorry.
No, you are doing for your level. I know that's what you have to do for your level. Who calls him for she to explain where she want to go for police?
You are
What
good.
be that?
You are a very good boy. Don't worry.
You don't know say na Regina Daniels. You don't know who she dey lock for here, they go kill you.
This junction, me, I'm just tired. I think that until she comes to speak, then we'll know where we stand. But the only thing I will say is that this is not the first wife of Ned that he will accuse of drug abuse and alcoholism and all of that. So how come it's just all your wives that are into all this and not you? You're the innocent one. And how can a little girl like Regina be too powerful for you to control in your own house? How possible is that? And how is it that Sammy will have the audacity to come to your house screaming, even if he's high or whatever? And besides that aspect that he said that he had to wake Sammy's girlfriend by 4 for her to leave, he sent his driver to go drop her. That was kind of extreme now. Why not just wait until it's morning? Why that 4 a.m.? So maybe that's what provoked Sammy, if I thought this true. But I think as this Joshua, Regina will have to come out and speak her own side so that we'll know exactly what we are gonna do. Yeah. What do you think? Please drop your own thoughts in the comments, please. Thank you for watching. See you soon. Bye.